Hey guys, welcome back to World of Warships. Today we're taking a look at the Conqueror. With these new commander skills, I'm sure some of you were interested in seeing what Conqueror can do with all this extra healing. Ohio, sure, we got the heal cooldown. But what happens if you give it to Superheals? Yeah, healing back 25,000 HP, and we get potentially 6 of these heals now. So we have 4 base with our commander build, and we can actually earn 2 more in this game potentially. It's that 2 million potential damage that we're going to look out for in this one, as well as Andrew Cunningham. We're using the special commander for the British line here, and on 2 kills, you actually get another heal charge. Also, Wither achievement, which shouldn't be too hard in a Conqueror with a lot of battleships in this game, and that should give us another bit of reload buff. We're also taking Furious, of course, in this one. Conqueror is pretty much made for that skill at this point, and I think it's probably worth taking, honestly. I'm still of the opinion that heavy AP is going to be bait on basically everything. That super heavy AP skill, it's just not good enough. The bonus isn't good enough for the massive penalty that you do take for fire duration. Even with the 10% damage reduction to each fire tick, that's just a long time to be on fire. And for a Conqueror especially, we're not using AP that often to make use of that, so Furious seems to be the skill to take here. I do skip forward a little bit in this game. The very first bit of this battle was me taking a bunch of unnecessary damage and not really dealing much in return. So we're going to move on from that and go towards the enemy's strong push. Of course, if you're in a Conqueror or anything that likes to farm with HE, you want to be going to the side where the enemy team is strongest, because they're more likely to be pushing in. There's more targets to go after. We're going to be trying to rotate the fires a little bit. That's going to how we're going to get the most impact out of those fires. Just shooting a target until we know we have permanent fires, or this person is just letting them burn because they don't want to use their damage control, anything like that. Then we'll go to the next person. That isn't the best for battle impact, of course. We're not going to be shooting at DDs as much, or radar cruisers, that kind of thing, since we'll have HE most likely. And Conqueror doesn't have the best dispersion. It does quite well into battleships because, well, they're gigantic. So yeah, that's like 12k in a fire right there into that price end. That's a lot of damage. But if we're dealing with a bow in Des Moines, let's say, yeah, we're probably just going to miss a lot of our salvos. So Conqueror, even though we're going to get a lot of damage, and we're already ticking up pretty good here, 75k already, yeah, it's not the highest battle impact. And that's one of the reasons that I find Conqueror to be a good battleship, but not the best, especially with battle impact wise. And it's surprisingly squishy. We're going to get a lot of potential damage in this one. We're actually going to tank quite a bit here, but it surprisingly can get killed very easily. This 32 millimeters of armor and low base HP means if you take a lot of permanent damage, like you saw that AP salvo did some permanent damage to us, torpedoes, anything like that, it can be really bad. Difficult to actually get use out of these Superheals. And that's where this build might be a little bit overkill. 6 Superheals is probably more than we can actually make use of in a normal game. So we'll be playing with these builds a little bit more. But for now, just limit testing, going as far into these builds as we possibly can, maximizing that extra healing or the secondary damage or whatever the new buffs are going to be giving us, whether it be cruisers or battleships, and trying to see what they can do. So here we deal with this Slava, we're dealing with the battleships, but we have a Shimakaze on our flank. That's really scary as a Conqueror, so we're actually going to start turning into it. You could turn away, but in this situation, our team is losing so badly. Like, we've basically lost C. We're not going to get on ACAP anytime soon. We got to start pushing and making something work here, because we're going to lose this game rather quickly if we don't. So turning in, get fortunate to not actually eat a Citadel from the Monty there. Lucky us, and then we get our first proc here from Cunningham. Yeah, that Witherer achievement definitely helps the DPM, as well as Furious. Anytime we're going to get lit on fire here, another 10% DPM is going to feel great. Pushing in, though, in a Conqueror, into a Preussen, into a Slava, into a Shimakaze on our flank. Smolensk is smoking up on us. Monty's around. Des Moines is around. Yeah, we could die really quickly here, even with our super heal available to us. So we're going to have to rush for this island as best we can. Try and limit the number of people that can shoot at us here. Montana looks to be not on a fire, so we'll shoot at him instead of the Preussen, since Preussen is still burning here. Waiting a little bit here until we pop our super heal, just to try and maximize its value. they do go quickly, right? It's only a 20 or so second super heal, not a 30-second heal like we would normally get. So I'm kind of waiting until I'm either going to get the full value out of the heal, or maybe that fire has 20 seconds left, and then we can heal through the remainder of that fire, for example. But Furious giving us a pretty nice reload here. Damage output is very good, already up to 220,000 damage on this one. And we're living, barely, but we are living. There's that extra proc of a heal, 2 million potential damage. So 3 heals left in the tank, even though we've already used 2 of our heals, and 3 available. It is interesting, I will say. We've saved our damage control, waited for that double fire, or just until we're nearly behind this island, using that immunity time to stay safe for a little bit. But I'm going to wait here for just a second, just because, yeah, I was under a lot of pressure, waiting for them to either get pushed back a little bit or maneuver around this island and maybe focus on a 1v1 against this Slava if we can. Although there is still a Shimakaze out here. We did get very fortunate that he had a very unlucky RNG spread of torps there, so we managed to dodge that first set. But yeah, still a very scary situation for us to be in over here. But we will get to farm this Slava just a little bit more, trying to make use of this island to avoid the Monty here, Smolensk, the Des Moines still, that kind of thing. It's tricky playing a Conqueror when you're trying to push in. And here come the torpedoes. And we get pretty fortunate. It's only 1 potentially. And yes. The one time the sub rework is going to be working in my favor. I get very fortunate there that the island actually pokes out further than it looks in that case. Normally, I'm not very happy with that, but I'll take it in this case. Very fortunate there. And a double fire. Nice to see on that Slava there. Might actually end up taking him out. But with this range, and given that this game is still very close, I don't want to push out just yet. Just waiting until maybe the Shima gets spotted somewhere else, because notice we're undetected right now. So the Shima's not on our flank anymore. We need to wait and see where he is before we push out any further. But they're taking B now. Our team's going to get control over C, which is nice. But we do need to be a little careful, as if our team over pushes on that flank, well, they're just going to run into this kind of HE death ball that I barely escaped from myself. So we do need to apply some pressure coming back on them here as they're leaving this flank. Try and get into the A-cap, that kind of thing. Monty is almost dead. Roysen almost dead. They're all very low, so we need to be finishing off these targets here soon. Notice that their points are way, way ahead of ours. Unfortunately here on this replay, I had to re-record this game, and the score timer is not working. But that was a big impact in this game. This is a very close match, which we like to see. But this score timer was really showing how much pressure we were under here. It was probably like 2 minutes until the enemy team wins, something like that. I'm trying to remember here. So we do need to be getting kills and stepping on the caps. This is pretty dangerous at this point. I'm gonna let this flood actually tick. Not gonna use my damage control because all this flooding is 100% healable. So we're not gonna get the full value out of either of these super heals left. May as well wait until we're in a situation where we want to be using this super heal. There we go, we finally finished Slava off. That's an arsonist for us. And, you know, we could have damage con that flood, or we can just heal it all back through this super heal right now. So I think it's better to save our damage control, especially since, again, we don't necessarily know exactly where this Shimakaze is, and there's a Smolensk coming back that could just smoke up and start farming us. We definitely want this damage control, especially since we got a step on the A-cap. We're up to 283,000 damage, and we have 3 million potential damage. And this game is staying close, but even though this Preussen, I believe, is going to go down here, and I'm going to get this A-cap, in the end, it's actually going to be not quite enough. The points tick was just a little bit too strong for our team here, and that's pretty much the end of this game. We're trying to run towards the carrier, trying to run towards the Shimakaze, who did go get the C-cap, and that won them the game. So very close game here. Really shows off Conqueror as still just a beast into battleships. It's insanely good at farming them out. But we did lack a little battle impact in this one. I was pretty happy to tank as much damage as we did and still survive. But overall, I'm kind of the opinion that maybe these 6 potential heals are a little extra. We don't necessarily need that many, but 140k fire damage, kind of insane. As for the build here on the Conqueror, I'm probably going to change it. As I say, this is a little bit overkill going for both of these. I will be trying to get out some sort of video talking about standard builds I think we should be running on some of our ships here going forward, especially battleships. I don't think the cruisers are going to change that much, nor destroyers. But for battleships, I do think some builds will change. So this is what I was running in the game. I really am liking this AA Defense and ASW Expert. We didn't proc it too often this game, but when you're under pressure and that carrier comes over and you're gaining that 40% quicker cooldown as long as your AA is on, you're going to survive a lot more of those situations. It's a very powerful tool to have that allows you to, when you're under the most pressure, get to your consumables quicker. It's really nice to have. This improved repair party readiness skill, I think, is only going to be here if you can find a different use for a different 4-pointer. And that's what I think we actually are going to do on the Conqueror. I think Conqueror specifically here is going to benefit a lot from this change. So I think I'll still take Gunfeeder, even though preventive maintenance is much better than it used to be. This one's got that 15% survivability to our secondaries and AA now on top of our main modules. But I think we're going to go like this and improved repair party readiness. So instead of taking something like basics survivability, you know, the standard build would have looked like this in the past. Well, I suppose we probably would have taken Grease the Gears, right? There's a pretty standard build in the past, right? But I think I want to be taking the healing here, which frees up this 4-point here, and we can actually take Furious now. And we're still getting 4 heals, right? In the past, we would be giving up a full heal, right? And 4 heals, I think, is usable on a Conqueror. You can use a full 4 heals. 5 or 6, maybe pushing it. But 4, I think you want. So we're still going to get our 4 in games where we need it. 2 million potential damage isn't too bad to get. I think 3 super heals will carry you to 2 million potential damage, and that's when you're going to get your 4th heal. And that allows us to just have 10% reload. So I will be talking about this more. This is being recorded on Friday. I got a whole weekend to think about this, but I will try to get out some more standard builds before this reset goes away. We've only got a week. It is very short. I understand some of you are probably waiting for some standard build to come out because, let's be honest, it's expensive to constantly retrain things. So if you are waiting for that, I'll try and do that. I guess you're watching this Monday, so I should probably have it out for Tuesday. So tomorrow's video is when I have to do it by. Otherwise, the resets go away Wednesday. Is that right? Wow. Very, very short time to actually test these things. So they might not be perfect, but for now, that is the idea for the Conqueror specifically. I'll have to see about some other battleships. We're going to look at, you know, Montana, Vermont, more standard battleships as well. Ones that maybe you just want to take this as well. I mean, everybody likes 10% reload. And don't think you shouldn't be taking fire prevention and think, oh, I'm losing value out of Furious. No, the value of Furious is that initial burst of 10%. 1 fire ticking, okay, that's fine. You don't want 2 or 3 fires ticking on your ship. You're just gonna die. That's where Furious was bait before. It was only a 5% buff, and it was just bait to leave the fires on your ship. 10% is enough to say, okay, that's a temporary buff when I have that 1 fire ticking, and we only really want that 1 fire. Every other fire after that, or flood, is only a 5% buff after that. So it's not nearly as impactful. It's just, we're taking this for that initial fire. And so with fire prevention, that means you get that 1 fire on your superstructure, you're good to go, like normal. And then maybe you take a flood, maybe you take an extra fire like we did in this game, then you use your damage control, just like normal. But I'm thinking Conqueror looks a little something like this for now. We'll see. Watch tomorrow's video and find out. I will have to do some thinking and some more testing as time goes on this weekend. Oh, wait, we should get to, yeah. This is the upgrades I was using. I was actually running ledge mod. That's why we were a little more maneuverable here. But did lack on some of the concealment, but still pretty good concealment, honestly. But yeah, just run conceal if you don't have leg mod. It's not a big deal. Of course, reload. I was running prop mod here. Actually, that's another question. I always say 2 out of the 3, don't I? So now we're not taking bait. Oh, I got so much to think about, guys. Yeah, I think the 2 out of the 3 rule still stands. So, we're losing maneuverability then. Maneuverability is nice to have on a ship like this one. Oh, it's so difficult. I think that's part of the reason I actually was getting so much potential damage this game is I was able to accelerate quickly and turn quickly thanks to these 2. But with concealment, you're not going to be shot at as much. Rather difficult, but, you know, if we want to do this rule of 2 thing, then you take the flag and you take this here. That might make more sense on battleships without Superheals. With a Superheal, maybe you can get away with it. Only 1. I got away with it with only 1 on this game, so yeah. Okay, I have to think about this some more, but for now, that's my thoughts for now. It'll be much more concise in a much better video, hopefully tomorrow when you guys are watching this. Should be coming out on Tuesday. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Conqueror's a bit of a beast. There's a lot of fun builds to try. Hope you guys have fun with them. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day.